He can hit every shot dead center, but he quietly pulls his aim off the bullseye. On the fitness test, he can barely lift 2 reps before whining he's exhausted, and on the most basic reverse parking drill, he plows straight into the cardboard boxes before they finally stop him. Yet somehow, on the final evaluation, his score lands exactly on the passing line. That's H's signature trick, sandbagging like a pro. Once H clears the Fortico securities exam, he gets exactly what he came for, a job driving the armored truck. That's the only way he can flush out the bigger fish behind everything. So he suits up, and his partner Bullet takes him to the bank to walk him through every step of the cash transfer. As a veteran, Bullet warns him that armored guards are never the hunters. They're always the lambs waiting to be slaughtered. If anything goes sideways, the rule is simple. Survival comes first. Clearly, Bullet has no idea what this bald-headed guy is really capable of. And back at Fortico, he invites his new partner out for a drink to welcome him aboard. H makes up an excuse about leaving something behind and tells Bullet to head out first. Then, once he's sure Bullet is gone, H clocks out at the time clock but doesn't actually leave. Instead, he pulls out his phone and snaps photos of every employee ID badge on the wall. The next day, H gets his first transport assignment. But for a measly $10,000 pickup, Bullet disappears for a whole half hour. Dave assumes Bullet is sneaking off to see his boyfriend again and grabs the radio to tease him. And that's when the two of them realize they're actually being hit by robbers. The robbers order them to drive the truck to a designated spot and dump all the cash into a waiting pickup. And Dave panics so hard he's ready to abandon Bullet, slam the gas, and bolt. H, on the other hand, stays completely calm and tells Dave that since they're a team, the money doesn't matter, but they can't just leave a brother to die. Besides, the cash in the truck isn't even theirs, and once Dave hears it that way, he figures H has a point. The two of them drive the truck to the spot the robbers picked, and at the same time, Bullet is dragged out of the robber's vehicle. H takes a quick scan of the robbers, then turns and walks to the back of the truck and opens the cargo door. He starts tossing the money bags into the pickup like they asked, but on purpose, he chucks one bag way past the truck onto the ground, and the robber gets so furious he jumps out to grab it, which is exactly what H wanted. In that instant, H drops the wimpy act completely, lands a clean rifle shot dead on target with zero wasted movement, and as the two remaining robbers try to ambush him, H calmly swaps out his magazine, casually hitches up his pants after the other guy empties a full clip at him, and the last robber gets so terrified he bolts straight for the warehouse. But what he doesn't know is that once this bald-headed killer locks onto a target, nobody walks away alive. After taking that guy out, H casually walks off the scene, leaving his teammates frozen in place with pure disbelief on their faces. H walks up to every single robber and yanks off their masks one by one, like he's searching for someone specific. The company brass takes the attack very seriously, and they're dying to know how a man who couldn't even hit the bullseye on his test suddenly turned into a sharpshooter who lands every round. But H just shrugs it off with a flat, "I killed them," end of story. Seeing he won't open up, the boss doesn't push it any further, and instead pulls up surveillance footage from a heist a few months back, asking H to identify whether these are the same robbers. H takes a long look, and even though it's not the same crew, his eyes burn with the kind of hate you reserve for your worst enemy, because the casualties from that day weren't just the guards, they included his own son, Guggy. The truth is, H is actually an underground crime boss, and the day of the incident is one of the rare days off he's spending with his son. But the moment they walk out the door, his men call to tell him the guy tailing the armored truck just got into a car crash and is being questioned by police. And right now, the only one close enough to track the armored truck is him. H's first instinct is to scrap the whole job, but the next cash run won't happen for another 3 months, and he's got an entire crew counting on him to put food on the table. So H has no choice but to handle it himself, and it's that one decision that drags him straight into hell. H drives to the assigned street and uses the excuse that he wants a pancake, telling Dougie to stay put in the car. He walks over to the pancake stand and quietly tracks the armored truck's movements. The second the truck pulls out, his job is basically done. But just as the armored truck rolls out from under the bridge, a cement truck blocks it from the front. An excavator from behind hoists the rear of the truck right off the ground, so the back wheels just spin uselessly in the air. And the robbers slap heavy-duty suction cups onto the side, cut open a window with a torch, drop a smoke grenade inside, and the two guards come stumbling out, choking on the fumes within seconds. Just as the two of them get pinned down, one of the guards quietly slips out his side-on, and H's car happens to be parked right across the way as the robbers start moving the cash. And despite his partner's warnings, the guard makes his move. And in the struggle, one of the robbers' masks gets ripped clean off. That means his identity is completely blown. And he also spots Dougie in the car across the street, watching the whole thing go down. and Dougie shakes in terror as he tries to call his dad. But before the call even connects, the robber is already standing right at the car door. Under threat, Dougie has no choice but to climb out and lie face down like he's told. And right at that moment, H wraps up what he is doing and starts heading back. By the time he realizes a robbery is going down, the gun is already pointed straight at his son. H takes several rounds and goes down hard, unable to get back up, but his eyes still burn with murder. Once the robbers confirm every loose end is dealt with, they quickly finish loading the cash, hop in the car, and peel out of there. But what they don't realize is that this bald-headed man isn't going down from a few bullets. H pulls through on sheer willpower and survives, but his son's death stays lodged in his heart like a knot that will never come undone. His wife leaves him over it, and to avenge his son, H pulls every connection from his criminal past, tracks down a high-ranking CIA contact, and gets his hands on the full list of everyone tied to the heist. The CIA has been chasing these guys for decades, but with no solid evidence, they've never been able to touch them. H calls in every single one of his men and tells them no expense is too high. They're going to find the killers no matter what. But after running down every name on the list, they come up empty on the actual robbers from that day. That's when H finally realizes this crew is no average bunch of robbers. They roll up to the house of a guy who deals exclusively in underworld intel, drag him straight out of bed mid-sleep, and get ready to pry information out of him. But as it turns out, this informant, who runs his whole life off underground deals, is tougher than expected. Even with H's men working him over hard, the guy sticks to his code and refuses to give anyone up. And since H only needs one name, he ends up dragging out the man's own daughter as leverage. But once H gets the answer he came for, he doesn't lay a finger on the woman, and even hands her $200,000 in cash as compensation. After that, H and his crew track down the gang of brothers. And yeah, these guys did hit an armored truck once, and the team even pulls millions in stolen cash out of their stash. But after digging deeper, H finds out the money didn't come from the heist at all. It came from exploiting young women. H is furious when he hears it, because if there's one thing he hates more than anything in this world, it's the human exploitation racket. And after he wipes the whole crew out, the trail on his son's actual killers goes completely cold. Just when H is hitting a dead end, one of his men gives him an idea. Instead of running around like a headless fly outside, why not flush them out from the inside? So H sets up a brand new identity, uses his elite shooting and tactical skills, and successfully infiltrates Fortico Securities. Not long after he's in, the supervisor, after watching H's performance at the heist scene, gets paranoid that this guy could threaten his own position, and he tries to fire H on the grounds that he lied on his application. Luckily, the boss values talent and keeps him around, because the cash transport industry is dangerous as hell anyway, and having a guy with H's skills on the team is basically a free insurance policy. That whole incident turns H into a celebrity inside the company, and even the short-haired coworker who used to look down on him starts throwing flirty hints his way. The next day, H runs his usual cash transport route, and wouldn't you know it, he runs straight into another crew of robbers. But this time, their methods are way more sophisticated. They wave guns to scare off bystanders first, then use paint guns to coat every single window of the truck, and they don't even spare the side mirrors. Right after, they toss a smoke grenade into the cab, and Bullet gets choked out so bad he scrambles out of the truck. H opens up his door too, but the second the robbers get a clear look at the bald-headed man stepping through the smoke, they don't hesitate for a single second. They bolt like they've just seen a ghost,